Yes.
A very good evening to you, beautiful people. Good evening, Nigeria. Good evening, the world. Thank you for joining us today. This is Big Talk on Global TV, where we get to highlight major political discussions and bring discussions that will help forge Nigeria forward. For us, it's about Nigeria and how to move Nigeria forward. We don't have any other country. We have to make sure that we do our best to moving this country forward. My name is Ubong Usoro, and I'm your host today. Tonight we have wonderful discussion because it's all about Nigeria. But before then, we had a drama at the National Assembly today, where Senator Natasha was barred from entering the National Assembly. I think we have a video. Let's pull out this video and see what actually happened today at the National Assembly. Drama, everyday drama. And also, my colleague was at the National Assembly earlier today, Gimba Topsy. I don't know if we have him live. Let me get to hear his perspective on Nigerians too at the time. Gimba, how are you? Good evening. Hello, Topsy Gimba. Immediately we have him on the line. We'll bring him. So joining us today to help make sense of the discussions we have is somebody who's been so interested in Africa, Nigeria, and has done a lot of work around social intervention. As we want to look at social interventions, policies or politics in Nigeria, and some of the stories that we still have some other stories, videos. I'm going to be sharing to you about some political stories or round of some of the things that happened at Nigeria recently. We have Tina King, who is an African development expert, joining us in Abuja to help make sense of the discussion. A very good evening to you, ma'am.
Good evening to you, Mr. Oban.
Yeah, let's start with the story. Natasha, you followed the drama. Does it have something to do with gender, or is it? What do you have to say about it?
Okay. Okay. I thank you for having me. Appreciate it. What's going on with our senator, Madam Natasha Apoti, as an NGO? As my emphasis on NGO. And what's the drama that's going on? It's a political drama. So I tend to want to separate myself from anything politics. So I keep my focus mainly on what is going on among the marginalized
But it has
in terms of
in a political setting we have marginalized people
absolutely
in some way go out to vote
absolutely
and vote people into offices. So don't you think that this drama, what do you think about it?
In terms of allowing people to vote is their fundamental rights, in terms of individuals having the opportunity to go and express their constitutional right in presenting their representative or their constituents, to lead them. So that's a right of every Nigerian, and we should be accorded the opportunity to exercise our rights.
So
yes,
when people have this right and they have people voted into offices, and those people are not able to represent them, does it not speak to marginalization?
Absolutely, that is marginalization of the people that woman represents. That is a marginalization of those individuals, especially right now is the people of Kogi constituent that she represents. Absolutely.
All right, so let's talk about it as we have just 4 women in the National Assembly, and it seems none of them is even supporting her at this point. Let's talk about women and marginalization. Does it have to do with gender?
Again, just like I stated at the initial part of this interview, I am not going to focus or dwell on political events.
Like the women,
yes.
Women.
Yes.
Are women marginalized in Nigeria?
Yes, women are marginalized. Youth are marginalized. The less privileged children are marginalized. When a child cannot pay their tuition, that is marginalization.
But there's a political aspect to that where those in governance perhaps don't make policies that could help, push these people forward or push Nigerians forward. As somebody who's working with those who are in that spectrum, what are some of the things you do? Because sometimes you need to interface with political leaders to be able to push policies that will favor the work you do.
Let me give you a background of my organization.
Like the work you do.
Yes. The work I do, again, an NGO, the Keje Youth Empowerment Initiative, is only 1 year old. And the work we do is empowering youth, women, and children. And in doing so, yes, we have to partner with government institutions and civil societies, as well as individual businesses. So yes, we partner with any member of society, including our government, to get support, to assist the people we attend to in our various communities across Nigeria. But as a new organization, currently we have not even tapped into, our government have not, really responded to, financially to assist us, but they are partnering, at least partnering with us, they are coming up, I would say, but it has not materialized as of now. Yes.
So I'm still, do we have Gimba join us? Hello, do we have Gimba now with us? Okay, so I just heard that Gimba will be joining us, because I still really want that we talk about this, because a lot of girls look at people like you and people who are in political offices, especially for the women the demography, as role models.
Did you say they look at me like people like me in political?
No, that's not what I say.
Oh, okay.
I mean people who have wrote a name for themselves, people who are doing well.
Yes.
And so they look at in different spectrum of the society. So they look at you as role models and people they could aspire to be like in future. So I talk to that where these girls see sometimes dramas like this. Does it not just say, okay, go back to your show and don't aspire to be nothing?
No. The set of fingers are not equal, and that should even fire up any young lady that is coming up when they see a situation where a woman is taken advantage of or a youth is taken advantage of. That should actually motivate them to aspire to become advocates for those women and youth. Yes, so that should not cause you to, to backslide or to relax and say, I can't do nothing about it. If every one of us relax concerning the situation that we face, not only in Nigeria but globally, but right now we are talking about Nigeria. If all of us relax, then who will do the job? Who will take it forward?
So I'd like to ask,
so yes,
does it mean that women face more challenges going in workplaces?
I agree.
And achieving goals? I
agree. Women do, yes. Women are more in that category of marginalization as compared to men, especially in our society. In our society, it's like, the man has the power, So if that's the case, then, you sort of like turn our girls, we recently did a project in empowering our young girls in terms of, let me deviate from your topic right now, in terms of empowering the girls, the girl child. Many of the girls in our society, they will not go to school because they are under their period, and that is to me a point of marginalization, why I will refuse to go to school to go and gain education, because, but KJ Youth Empowerment Initiative, our initiative, took these girls to give them a complete course or classroom and lecture concerning who they are and embolden them that who they are is what God created them to be, and they don't need to hide themselves. So yes, marginalization happens. It happens, right, and we need to change that.
Okay, so breaking the glass ceiling, is it just about education? Because you've mentioned education, because it seems
that's
that
priority for me.
Yeah, priority. That even with education, people are still marginalized, even in schools. We've had even in offices, because the allegations, of course, Senator Natasha is alleging that there was some kind of sexual, attempt and all of that.
Right.
So, and some women has also come out to say, if you've risen to being a senator, there's no way you can't be harassed sexually, because at that level you can't be harassed. So let's talk about education. Does education, place some kind of protective
barrier
along the women?
No, education does not place a protection around any woman or any young girl can be sexually harassed. I'm not saying that. Yes, that is an alleged situation. But yes, school-age children are sexually, abused. Women are sexually abused. You go to war zones. What happened there? They have, the women are even more, more in danger of sexual harassment and sexual abuse. What about trafficking? Sexual trafficking.
All right, so I'll come back to you.
Yes, please.
Continue that conversation.
No problem.
I think my colleague has been able to join us. Hello, Topsy Gimba. How are you today? You've had a very busy day. Hello, Topsy.
Hello, Obo, how are you?
I'm fine. You've had a very busy day today. All right, so let's talk about Natasha. I saw you at the National Assembly. What actually happened? Can you walk us through the situation at the National Assembly today while you were there to cover the event? All right, so go ahead.
Okay, thank you for having me, Obong. Actually, I was in the National Assembly this morning. When I was driving the National Assembly for the day, because they had a recess for a week or thereabout to attend to the burial of the former president, late Muhammadu Buhari. So, having spent 1 week off, within that period, that was the time Natasha had been going to court and some other time indeed, to see whether or not her recall could be reclaimed. And so, with the judgment given to her by the High Court in Abuja, a fair many votes were settled a day, actually after teaching. So what was as reporters that National Assembly took it early in the morning, but to the presence of mixed up with the police and the sergeant at arms, that's the internal security personnel within the National Assembly, knew that something was about to happen because we've been hearing about that, or reading about Natasha preparing to be at the National Assembly, and I knew our coming wouldn't be so easy, and because National Assembly duly suspended her for 6 months, and the suspension is still on because the suspension happened on the 6th of March. So, today we are in July, so she still has a couple of months to do that. And if she had actually written an apology letter, that would have been accepted and then cut short the period set aside by the National Assembly, particularly Senate. And so when she went to court with the hope that she was coming back, I knew it was going to be really difficult. Because coming back through the court wouldn't be so difficult, and that's exactly what really happened. And when she came, at the first gate very close to Eagle Square, she had access to it because she wanted to drive into the National Assembly. But the police said no. She had to park, and she parked and decided to trek from a very long stretch to cover that distance so that she would get to the complex. And before you could get...
Was it like she was blocked or stopped from going into the plenary today? Because I've seen reports where said Senator Natasha was barred from entering the National Assembly. So was she stopped from going inside? Topsy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, she was
stopped from going into the National Assembly today.
Can you hear me over?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, she was blocked. She was really blocked. They didn't allow her to have access to the complex. She was really blocked by the security personnel that manned the gate or the entrance of the National Assembly. And so she had any option than to just stand there and then
from my team at this
the barricade to tell me that she got to...
Yeah. What are we hearing from our team? What's the next step for her?
Well, while she was addressing the press, she categorically mentioned that for the next step is she is going to approach her lawyer to seek advice how to go about the matter. And so we are really waiting for the next stage from her to see whether or not her lawyer would advise her to keep pressing her to see whether or not National Assembly, particularly Senate, will allow her to have access to the plenary at any point in time whenever she is able to give that opportunity. But of course, the committee Senate chairman in charge of media and public affairs in the person of Senator Yemi Adara Modu had earlier published a story in the form of a release for reporters within Senate, to publish that the judgment so said by the High Court in favor of Natasha had not been clearly given to them, and so they find it very difficult. The Senate finds it difficult to really allow Natasha because it has not been clearly given to them whether or not that judgment is substantive or not. And so with that particular release made by the spokesperson to the Senate, I knew very well in the morning that it was going to be difficult for her to access the complex, and that was really what really happened at the end of the day. Over.
Thank you so much, my colleague, Topsy Gimba, who covers the National Assembly for us. Thank you for that update. And do have for yourself a wonderful night. You can now go to rest.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, so today we saw all of the drama that happened with Senator Natasha being barred from entering the National Assembly, and the drama continues. Like Topsy reported, she's going to get to meet with her lawyers and get her advice and know what to do. There's a lot of sides to the story. There's a side that she's not done the apology because the court actually advised that she should actually apologize in 2 national dailies and pay fine. So some people have said we've not seen the apology, and it wasn't a command to the Senate, and we, as we keep progressing with the report, will actually speak to some persons in the National Assembly to give us deeper updates and what that judgment actually means to the courts. Don't forget, this is Big Talk. I'm still with me in the studio. We have Tina King, who is actually an African development expert. As we look at interventions in Africa and Nigeria, is it just policy or is it just politics? How do we go around the issues of intervention? So I'll come back to the studios now to Tina. We keep seeing there seems to be a divide among how men in Nigeria are able to get income and how women are able to get income. I like that you speak to the differences in income level between men and women.
It's the same thing as what I've said previously concerning, the men have the leeway, but the women, again, we have more marginalized women in our society, in our culture. Income brackets, I personally don't, what I care about is give me the opportunity as a female. Let me walk into the door as well as my male partner or my male colleague, So the door should not only be open to the male only, but as well as the female. And then let our should I say, our qualification and our input into the environment, let it be the one to determine our income. What you put in is what you get out. So yeah, sometimes the female may be more qualified than the male. Give her that opportunity. That is the most important thing. Give her a seat at the table in order for her to benefit.
All right, so
yes.
this idea of give a seat at the table, for some persons it seems seats will never be given. You have to earn the right to be at the table. Can we talk about, because in Nigeria there's a time we used to have 15% for women participation and it grew to having 30% under President Goodluck Jonathan, and I think that's where it is, since the 35% and all of that.
We need to grow.
Having women participation. Yes. So instead of having a percentage being set aside to have women participation, can we not have women run for offices? Can we not have women
absolutely
get into these offices? Let me give an example. I remember I didn't take the statistics, but I looked at it well. In my university days, I know it seems we had more female in classes than the male. But anytime there's an election, you still see the men coming out as class representatives to all of that. So let's talk about that. Even when the women have the population in a democracy that can push women into position, it seems there's this drawback that comes with, is it about being a woman, or is it something?
Maybe you should tell me, what else could it be? We've said, we've reiterated this, that women, yes. Statistics shows, the data shows that women are marginalized. Girls and women are more marginalized than boys and men. In our culture, the man has more power. The man has a greater and a louder voice. But policies needs to also change to empower women, to be in politics, as well as to have a brighter future. Because if you come to face it, women are becoming backbones to their families. Sometimes the men, God forbid, dies young, and what happened? The woman is stuck with 2, 3, 4 children as a widow. So if we do not empower the woman to do better, to foster raise healthy children, then what happened? We are destroying a whole entire generation when those children don't have access to good education, don't have access to, to better lives and better futures. So we are destroying a whole generation. So as we're empowering women, we must also know that we are empowering a nation. So nation building is key. And the way we build nation, let's revisit the current policies, see which one that is not working. Whatever policy is not working, we synthesize it, to whatever. And the ones that are working, we can revamp it. You know, there's nothing wrong with making new policies to empower women, to make our women benefit from what is coming, what is, you know, what benefit from the productivity of this nation, you know, and Africa at large, though. Africa at large, but yes.
So, I know your expertise as somebody who works in the developmental sector and all of that, but let me quickly ask this question. I remember in 2014 during the PDP primaries, we had one woman, Sarah, who came out for the primaries of the PDP, and she was the only female in that contest, and she had just one vote. But there were many delegates that were women, and it seems that women didn't vote for her. So it brings the question: women have the population? Why is it difficult for them to come together?
I think women also sometimes create their own problems because women have an issue. You always have issue with another female. You know, they would rather side with the guy. If the guy have more money, take side with him. You know, you know what I'm saying. So sometimes we create our own problem. We are our own problem. So we just need to come together, be supporters of each other. You know, when you see another woman doing well, you know, bless her and learn from her. How did she become successful? And from there, you could be empowered by another woman. Doesn't necessarily have to come from a man. You could be empowered by another woman by you just being there for her, by you just commending her good works. You know, but yes, instead of because sometimes we marginalize our own selves. Yes, and then you know promote the male. There's nothing wrong with promoting the males, but please stick with your female counterpart.
All right, so let's talk about empowerment. Let's talk about structurally social interventions in Nigeria. Do we have like a structural or political problem that leads to people not being where we have these classes in the society, out of school children, and all of the other problems that we have in our society today that are social problems?
We do. You see them like I see them, you know, and we need solutions. And how do we get solutions?
Yeah, talk about
it. We need to, you know, go back to the drawing board, our policies, government policies, you know, let them invite people like us to discuss policies, you know, in the Congress, you know, and let us also bring the communities around the country or community leaders to participate in that dialogue as well, you know, and you know in changing policies, because you may be sitting at the rooftop, and you may not know how the person at the bottom is being impacted. You know, people like us, we go to the grassroots, we see what's happening in the grassroots. So bring us to the table, you know, in terms of policies.
What's happening at the grassroots?
The grassroots, people are devastated. People they struggle to have food to eat, you know, and then in our country struggle to have food to eat. They go to the market and they purchase if they have even money, they purchase the least non-nourishing things to eat for dinner or for breakfast, you know. So if our generation, our people, our children, our youth and our women are not being empowered, I will only continue to use empowerment. If they are not being empowered, you know, how can we have a better, you know, nation or progressive nation? So yes, we need to do better with our next generation. You know, because the older generation, the time will come and they will pass.
We'll talk about you say the older generation, because in Nigeria it seems people run for offices when they get to 60s to 80s and all of that. Let's go for a short break. This is Big Talk. My name is Ubong Osoro, and we have Tina King, who is a African development expert, join us to help us make sense of this discussion on how we can actually grow social interventions in Nigeria. Is it just politics or policy? What will help us to be able to grow our development indices in the country? After this break, I'll be right back. Good evening if you're just joining us. This is Global TV and the program is Big Talk. My name is Ubong Usora. This is where we get to talk about the biggest stories in Nigeria. And I'm tracking for you a story yesterday. A turn happened where we saw the former 2023 vice presidential candidate of the ADC, Datti Baba Ahmed, in a national meeting, that's the National Executive Meeting, Council Meeting of the Labour Party here in Abuja. And I was at that event where I covered him and some of the things he said. Remember that some weeks ago we saw Datti Baba Ahmed with Peter Obi and some other politicians from the PDP, like former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Nasri El-Rufai, former governor, and a lot of other politicians at the Segun Musa Center in Abuja, where they posted a coalition under the umbrella of the ADC, Action Democratic Congress of Nigeria, a party that was formed in 2005. And maybe a lot of Nigerians thought that Datti Baba Ahmed is going to be a member of the ADC. But from what I heard him say yesterday, he said he remains a committed member of the Labour Party. Let's play that report and see what actually happened at that event.
The Battle chairman of the Labour Party, Barrister Julius Abure, has reaffirmed that the Labour Party will not be part of the recent coalition. According to him, the ideologies, manifestos and programs of the Labour Party differ significantly from other political parties, and therefore they cannot afford to join just any coalition.
The Labour Party is the only party that is different from all others, and we have continued to show that very, very clearly. And I want to assure you that we'll continue to drive that process. Labour Party will still be different, and we are capable of using this platform to lead Nigeria to El Dorado in the very near future.
Abure also called on factional members of the party to shed their swords and return, stating that the party is ready to receive all aggrieved members. He emphasized that its leadership remains the only recognized leadership of the party. Senator Datti Baba Ahmed, the 2023 vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, who was also present at the meeting, stated that his principal, Peter Obi, is a committed member of the Labour Party. He added that he is currently leading a mediation effort to unite all members of the party.
I have attended and I have listened to the coalition attempts, yet I still remain in Labour Party. I am glad also to note that from the comments of my boss, His Excellency Governor Peter Obi, he still remains in the Labour Party.
The Labour Party appears focused on internal reconciliation as it distances itself from external coalitions, signaling a resolve to consolidate its structure ahead of future political contest. Ubong Usoro for Global Television. The Battle chairman of the Labour Party, Barrister.
Alright, so yesterday in Abuja here we saw the chairman of the Labour Party and Battle chairman of the Labour Party, because at this time the Labour Party have two factional chairmen, two people who claim to be chairman, right? And we saw Datti Baba Ahmed with Abure, and some days ago we saw Abure taking a photo shot with the FCT minister Nyesom Wike. That photo actually trended online with lots of Nigerians, saying something. But Abure said he's still in Labour Party at the moment, and yeah, he's a member of the Labour Party. Also, another report that we would like to bring to you: some police officers earlier were protesting in Abuja. Let's see what happened and why the police officers were protesting. And immediately after that, we'll get back to the studio and we'll continue our discussion with our guest in the studio, Tina King. Let's see what the police officer said.
The group of retired police officers expressed displeasure over what they described as years of neglect, non-payment of pensions, and poor treatment of officers who had served the nation diligently. Suore, speaking during the protest, called on the government to recognize the sacrifices made by police officers and ensure that their welfare were prioritized.
We are saying enough is enough. It's as simple as that. We are not here to talk to their statement. We are here to talk about the well-being of these police officers, both serving, retired, dead, and their family members, who deserve a better condition of service or after service. How could somebody serve this country for 35 years? 35 solid years, and they go home with 2 million naira. Some of them went home with 900,000 naira. Are you going to buy the recharge card with 900,000 naira after 35 years? So even if we don't fight for them, it will be unconscionable on our part to ignore them.
The protesters also warned that if the government failed to respond promptly, they would sustain their action until their demands were met.
I was only given paid from 2004 to 2017, and I was given 2 million naira. I become a nuisance to my family. I
cannot give you the interest. Who is deceiving you in this country? Why do the IG and co exempt themselves from the PENCO? Why? Because they know it's a bad thing. Why do they want to instigate police to become corrupt? Now it is very clear that the serving police officers now must have to be corrupt.
I need my benefit, my remaining benefit with PENCOM. Let them pay me my benefit. My remaining money, let them pay me so that I will continue training my children. I'm a widow. Even my daughter, my last daughter, she's at State University. Yesterday I ran to see her. She was crying for her rent, 250,000 I'm paying. So this 2,000, how we start?
Security personnel were on site overseeing the protests to prevent any disruption of public order. Places beef up with armed policemen also included the National Assembly entrance to avoid breakdown of law and order. Topsy Gimba, reporting for Global Television News.
All right, so my colleague Topsy Gimba actually covered that report, and we are working towards bringing the protesters to the studios, and some persons from the Nigerian Police Commission also to talk about what could actually be the issues as to what they're complaining about. So I like that you react to the video of the police where we're talking about social interventions in Nigeria, and pension, because it is a contributory pension, should be an intervention. Maybe at the end of time you get a gratuity or something, and it seems people are complaining.
Yeah, this is also trickle down poverty. You know, yeah, it is sad to see our law enforcement officers, government servants who have served their country that should retire with some decent wage, and live their life to their old age. But here is what they're experiencing. So yeah, in this case, I would say we need institutional reform. That's when a police officer serves his time and retires, he should retire with dignity. Because you also saw a lady in that video. What she said, she couldn't help her daughter, who needed a rent of 250,000 naira. So here we are. It's trickle down poverty. I look at the police officers going through what they are going through. Their children along the way are also inheriting that poverty. So we are basically destroying the next generation. We are not just destroying these noble people that have served, but we are destroying the next generation. So, reform is required, institutional reform. Our people do not need handouts. They do not need save me. All they need, like there's a saying, instead of give me fish, teach me how to fish. I want to know how to catch fish. Yeah. So let me do it to empower me. To enable me to progress. I don't want to beg. And I know that our people don't enjoy begging, but because of the way the system is, we find more people begging, And if I give you bread today, what happened tomorrow? You still have to eat, But let me give you something that will enable you to earn your own bread and live a decent and dignified life. That is what we need to be advocating for our society.
Right.
Yes,
yeah.
Very important.
So it's across board because
yes.
I think maybe we'll look at it more critically, because these are people that they've gotten jobs, And in Nigeria, if somebody gets a job like a police job, people say it's a federal government job, and people are happy about getting this kind of jobs, and you still see them complaining. So it's more than just getting jobs at the first place.
Like I said, institutional reform. Get the job, get paid. You work, you get paid, so that you can live a decent life.
So maybe institutional reforms, is it about a salary upgrade? Is it?
Correct. Like previously we said, if policy is not working, change it. If it is an old policy that does not benefit the society, rid of it. And let's implement create and implement new policies.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So let's talk about social intervention in Nigeria. We've had a lot, especially in the past, since 2014, when the former President Muhammadu Buhari came. We had End Power, we had conditional cash transfers. Yeah, we had the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program. We had the school feeding program, and these are intervention programs that the government has rolled out to maybe help Nigerians at some sort. But you've just mentioned here that we don't need handouts. So if the government is looking at what kind of interventions that are you advising as an expert?
Create jobs.
Yeah.
Create jobs and give me job to do. Create jobs.
Is it the duty of government to create jobs?
And is the duty of the government to create jobs, and the duty of the government to create policies that enables businesses to create more jobs. So yeah, the government can create jobs and for the welfare and well-being of their people. Yeah, as well as civilian businesses. That's creating a job. Dangote is creating job. Yeah.
Right, so
I am creating jobs.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So we create jobs to empower people. Instead of people going to bed at night without knowing what to eat, we give them a job and pay them decent wage to enable them to lead a decent life. Yes. So we are not, begging. It's a fundamental right for someone to have a job. Right? I would think so. In any society, for anyone to have a job, that is a right. If you are qualified, you should get the job. That's it. If you are qualified as a cleaner, you get a job as a cleaner, but make sure that you are paying that cleaner every month. When at the end of the month, when that salary time comes. But we do not take advantage of our people. Accountability is another key reason why some of these things happen. Some of these people work, and because of lack of accountability, they don't get salary. Sometimes they don't get salary in 2-3 months. How do I feed? So these are all things, situations that we need to take a full comprehensive
policy around payment of salary.
A salary, compulsory. If you delay your staff salary, they should have a policy that allows them to take you to court. Yes, and pro bono. Take you to court pro bono, pay them their money. So there should not even be a reason why you should not pay your staff. Pay the staff, whether they are working for government or working in private institutions, they must, if they have worked, they must be paid. Yeah, if they are not working, if they are acting lazy, then change them, remove them. That's it.
Okay guys, so we're having interesting conversation in the studio with Tina King, who is actually an African development expert. As we look at social interventions in Nigeria, is it just politics or policies? Like I do on the show every day when I come, I go on social media to track the top stories and what Nigerians are saying, what you're saying about some of these stories. So let's go check out some of the trending stories on social media tonight and what some Nigerians are saying. And in a couple of minutes, then we'll get back to the studio and try to round up the conversation for tonight. Let's go check out what Nigerians are saying on social media. right, so we saw Osun State, Deleke, a PDP state, adopting President Bola Tinubu as their presidential candidate already for 2027, still 2 years ahead, but maybe not, they've made their choice. Let's see the story. Okay, so the story, this is not the story where Adeleke is adopted as the PDP endorsed Tinubu for second term. Do we have the story? Alright, so that's the story. Adeleke, Osun PDP endorsed Tinubu for second term. Let's see what Nigerians are saying about this endorsement already. Shola Tena says it is again glaring that some PDP members are working for APC, which from inception had PDP, APC, CPC, APP members, just to seize power from Jonathan Issaudna. Atiku and other ADC coalition too is to unseat Tinubu, not APC. Nigeria has no party but personality system. Oh, that's your thought, Shola. Alright, Temitope says the film will play in 2027. 2027 will be the end of all these displays and desperate politicians. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will retire all of them into political oblivion. Alright, let's get any other. Dracola says it should be voted out. I don't think he has shown responsibility in Osun anywhere. He is at every event dancing all over the place on serious elements. That's his thought. Let's try to see. We can finish the stories that we have tracked for you on social media. The second story we have says Senate to hold special session in honor of late President Buhari. Alright, so the story says Senate to hold special session in honor of President Buhari. Let's track any comments. Imore says, God bless the Nigerian Senate, God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria, God bless all Nigerians. Alright, so the Senate is still mourning the former president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, who died some days ago. Alright, so the third story we have for you tonight says Senator Natasha, it's about the story. It says Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan has made her way into the National Assembly after a convoy was initially stopped from entering the premises. She walked in on the premises on foot. Let's see what Nigerians are saying. Adebayo Daniel says these are the type of people Nigerians believe they remove through elections. I just laugh. When Nigeria is ready. Alright, okay, so the rest are actually his thoughts. Move over to any other person. Henry MD says if Natasha thinks she's doing the right thing, why coming to work with this miscreant media outlets? You don't call people miscreants. So when you see this kind of people around Senator Natasha in this video, you understand why she's acting. Alright, okay, goes on to say things that are entirely his own opinion. So what would you just highlight opinions? That's his own opinion. Ariat Mabe Yakubu says, shame, this is happening to an elected senator who is a woman in Nigeria. People should just imagine what an ordinary, unprotected Nigeria can face. That should be Nigeria. Absolute powers corrupting, absolutely. So I'll take the last story for tonight so we could still have some time to round up our discussion in the studio. The last story it talks about no coalition can stop Tinubu's re-election, Governor Nwaifuru. Alright, so this governor says no coalition can stop the re-election of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Let's just see what some Nigerians are saying. Somebody says, what are his basis of assertion as he delivered dividends of democracy to Ndi Ebonyi to make Tinubu unremovable in Ebonyi State? Okay? Any other? Abiodun says, true, but it shouldn't be coming from an Igbo governor because we know they will all deliver their states to be. That's sarcastic in a way. You never can tell. People vote who they want to vote, deliver their states. Maybe he has his own points to prove. Okay, so Pragmatic DB says, Nwaifuru is right. This is a simple truth that obedient coaliators and all detractors know but wish it is not. Okay, so I'll take whatever comment as the last comment for us tonight. Pastor Moses says, speak for yourself and do the work you rigged yourself to do. Nigerians, we have to be very careful on social media with the kind of languages we use on Okay, so Win says, laughing emoji, win your states for him. Let's see. Okay, so that's enough. That's enough for tonight. All right, so every day on the show, we actually go on social media to highlight some of the trending topics and some of the topics that Nigerians are talking about, and we'll bring your views to the world, to the global audience, and as we see how we can actually push this conversation forward. So we'll still have Dr. Tina King, who is an African development expert in our studios, helping us make sense of this discussion, how we could, social intervention, how we could help Nigeria. Is it just about policy statements or the politics that people just talk about? So, ma'am, before we go, I like that we talk about the fact that it seems we have a lot of people going to intervention programs, a lot of people going into development projects. Is there something in the space that we don't know? Is there like funding for people?
I'm not sure if there is. I haven't gotten any.
So it's just about the zeal to assist.
Yeah, the zeal to assist. And my organization, for example, I've been self-sponsored. So I haven't gotten that help. If there is help out there, please tell them to bring it. Because we all need it to help our people. Social intervention is not favor we are doing to our people. We are not doing any favor to them. It's a nation building. When we empower people, we are building our nation. It's nation development. So whenever there is a need, we need to intervene. Not with handouts, we should intervene with empowerment, enriching a life to become sustainable, but not to give you bread today and tomorrow you are still hungry. Right, that is not the mission.
All right, so before we go, just in 10 seconds, the work we do in Nigeria, social intervention, and all of the work, your organization, of course, people could read about that, King and any other organization is doing. You think it has actually, created impact?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Creating, serious impact. From what we have achieved in 1 year, I know that there is more to be done. Go to our website, study what we have done within 1 year. This organization has been in existence since June of 2024. Yes, and the work out there is much. Our people are hungry. Our people need jobs. Our people need help. Our people need stability. And it is our duty to give to them what they cannot achieve on their own.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Tina King, social development expert, coming to give us your opinion about how we could actually develop Nigeria and the social interventions that we have in the country. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, people, and that's our package for tonight. Don't forget that you can actually watch us live on DSTV 365 and also on StarTimes 267. Do have for yourself a wonderful evening. My name is Ubong Osoro. Bye for now.